Welcome to CodeCradle. Today we are going to learn top 20 interview questions on unit testing. What is unit testing? Unit testing involves testing individual units or components of an application to ensure they are working as expected. What is Spring Boot's at Spring Boot test annotation? At Spring Boot test is used to bootstrap the entire application context for integration tests, but it can also be overkill for unit tests, which typically don't require the full context. What is the difference between unit tests and integration tests? Unit tests test individually components in isolation, while integration tests check how different components work together in an application. How do you mock dependencies in unit tests in Spring? Dependencies are typically mocked using mocking frameworks like Mockito or Spring's at MockBean and at Mock Annotations. What is the purpose of at MockBean annotation in Spring? At MockBean is used to add a mock instance of a bean to the Spring application context, replacing any existing bean of the same type for testing purposes. What is at mock in Mockito? At mock is used to create mock objects in a unit test that simulate the behavior of real objects. What is the use of at inject mocks in Mockito? At inject the mocks created with at mock or at mock bean into the class you want to test, simulating dependency injection. How does the at before each annotation work in unit tests? At before each annotation is used to specify that a method should be executed before each test method, often used for setting up test data or mocks. What is the difference between at before each and at before all? At before each runs before each test method, while at before all runs once before any method tests in the test class. How do you test Spring repositories using unit tests? Spring repositories can be tested by mocking the repository interface using at MockBean and simulating the behavior with Mockito. What is Mockito.when? What is Mockito.when used for? Mockito.when method is used to define the behavior of a mocked object when a specific method is called on it. How do you verify method invocations using Mockito? You can use Mockito.verify method to check whether a particular method was called on a mock object during the test. What is the purpose of capture in Mockito? At capture is used to capture argument values passed to a method during test execution, allowing for detailed assertions on arguments. What is the role of at WebMVC test in Spring? At WebMVC test is used to test Spring MVC controllers, loading only the web layers without full application context, which allows testing of controllers in isolation. How do you test Spring services? Spring services are typically tested using mocks for their dependencies along with the at inject mocks annotation to ensure the service logic behaves as expected. How can you test exceptions in Spring services? You can use Mockito.when method to throw exceptions from mock objects and use JUnit's assert throws to verify that expected exception is thrown. How do you test Spring MVC controllers with MockMvc? MockMvc allows testing of Spring MVC controllers by performing HTTP requests and checking the status, headers and response body without starting a full server. How does the test configuration annotation help in unit testing? At test configuration allows you to define custom configurations for your tests, isolating the test context from the main application. What is argument capture in Mockito? Argument capture is used to capture arguments passed to methods on mock objects, allowing you to assert the correctness of the method's input. How do you handle database interactions in unit tests? For unit tests, it's common to mock database interactions using tools like Mockito or to use in memory databases like H2 for testing purposes along with libraries like at data.jpy test for repository testing. Thanks for watching.